This Randy Cross and FCS Championship Pick edition of the Sports Gambling Podcast is presented by WynnBet. Bet $100 at WynnBet and get $100 free bet. Head over to sportsgamblingpodcast.com/WYNNBET. That's sportsgamblingpodcast.com/WynnBet to claim your free bet today. We're also brought to you by the College Football Experience. Get ready for the college football season by checking out all 131 college football team previews. Just go to sportsgamblingpodcast.com/CFB. That's sportsgamblingpodcast.com/CFB.
This is Randy Cross. You're listening to SGPN. Let it ride.
You like that?
Long Cox.
He's one of those guys who will get penetration.
Welcome everyone to the Sports Gambling Podcast. I'm Sean, stacking the money green with my partner in picks, Ryan, Real Money Kramer. What's happening, Kramer? Dog.
Oh, I just, nothing delights me more than talking to Randy Cross.
Yes.
And talking football championship subdivision.
Yes. We were talking.
Colby's favorite.
We got a nice interview with Randy Cross, then hit on some FCS championship picks.
It's hard to say the FCS and championship. It's not meant to. It's meant to be FBS.
With Colby Dant, aka the Dantabase. What's up, Colby?
Coming in with the FCS hate. You know how many of the greatest NFL players of all time have been in the FCS, buddy. All right,
I can name maybe one: Steve McNair,
Jerry Rice, Walter Payton, Michael Strahan, Daryl Green.
Let's go
on and on and on. Let's go,
answer.
Baby. All right.
I don't know about Jerry Rice.
Ryan, you call yourself a
little overrated,
a Michael Strahan fan? What? I mean,
Texas Southern. Who can forget?
I just don't know.
Back then, Michael Strahan was one of these weirdos who grew up in Germany and came over here, and it was like, oh, what's this football thing?
You act like he's not weird anymore.
You heard of Larry Centers? He was a really good fullback. Doug Williams won a Super Bowl, great quarterback.
You've named like a half dozen guys out of the history of the NFL.
Terrell Owens, you ever heard of him? Randy Moss. Randy Moss, you heard of him?
Well, come on, Randy Moss, only FCS player out of necessity.
Where did he play?
He was supposed to go to Notre Dame.
So wait, Jerry Rice, Randy Moss, Terrell Owens. I don't know that you can name three better.
Why do we
FBS
even have the FBS? All the best players are coming out of the FCS. Let's get to it.
I love the FCS. I'm sorry.
I'm an FCS god. You guys recall my dominance in the spring of 2021, just picking all those FCS spreads. Hey, WynnBet. sportsgamblingpodcast.com/WYNNBET. They got a bunch of FCS win totals up, the FCS championship prices, which we will be discussing after the Randy Cross interview. We got those all courtesy of our good buddies over at WynnBet. And hey, sign up over at WynnBet, bet $100, you get $100 free bet. Seems like a lead pipe lock if I've ever heard one. And of course, if you're in a WynnBet casino, say 100% deposit bonus up to $100,000. I was gonna up to $1,000. Hey, ask them. Maybe they'll do it up to $100,000. If you want to deposit $100,000 in the weapon, ask. You never know. Maybe they'll say yes.
Legal's on the line. Not actually for $100,000.
Bet big, win bigger with WynnBet. They're the presenting sponsor of the Sports Gambling Podcast Network. Keep the content train alive, running, and well. So head to sportsgamblingpodcast.com/WYNNBET to claim your free bet today, and so they know we sent you. And we're also brought to you by Run Your Pool. That's right, Run Your Pool. What do you do there? Well, of course, you run your pool, your football pool, Pick'em, Survivor, fantasy pools. If you're listening to this podcast, if you listen to SGPN, I am sure you are the person they go to for setting up the office pool. You and your buddies running whatever kind of pool you are running for this football season. You can do it over at Run Your Pool. And while you're there, or before you go there, actually sign up for our free NFL Survivor contest. We're giving away $500 cash to the winner and a $250 gift certificate to the SGPN merch store. All you have to do is go to play.run play.runyourpool.com/SGPN. That's play.runyourpool.com/SGPN. And we have an episode coming up. The next episode, it's already in the can, as they say. We are focusing on how to win an NFL Survivor contest. So you're going to want to listen to that as well and help you dominate this pool and all your pools. And again, go to play.runyourpool.com/SGPN. That's play.runyourpool.com/SGPN. Joining us on the line, 3-time Super Bowl champ, Mr. Randy Cross. Randy, thanks for calling in, man. Appreciate it.
It's a pleasure. It's a pleasure. Hope you guys are doing well.
Doing great. And we just taped our week 0 college football picks episode yesterday. And you're actually going to be calling the game, Western Kentucky versus Austin P. How excited are you? The first game of real college football.
Yeah, it's these guys, and it's not the FCC, but they get the whole country to themselves for about half hour.
Hey, we're gonna
Saturday.
I was just gonna say they're gonna be on our big screen, right? Because that's the only game on TV.
Yeah, no, it's actually going to be kind of cool. I'm looking forward to seeing Western Kentucky and that offense. Based off what they did last year was ridiculous. Bailey Zappi having almost 6,000 yards, 62 touchdowns, and when you start reading the press release and it says, well, they've lost a lot of depth at wide receiver. They bring back their 5th and 6th receivers. And these two guys had like 50 and 55 catches.
I know.
And they're 5th and 6th. I mean, it's crazy. So it's going to be fun. There'll be a lot of offense, and Austin P is another one of those, Mike Leach, Cliff Kingsbury.
Well, air raid action. Yeah,
it's air raid. It's spread and it's crazy, and not anticipating a whole bunch of defense. It might be a little hot, might be a little steamy. So maybe in the second half it gets a little sloppy, maybe. But
Coach Leach has been on this show plenty of times. We are big fans of Coach Leach, but it's everywhere on the landscape of college football. We were previewing the Big 12 yesterday, and I feel like every Big 12 coach somehow has an affiliation to the air raid and Mike Leach. What do you make of that offense?
I think it's great. I've been studying that for the last several years. I came out of an offense that was kind of, people look down their nose at it when Bill Walsh first started in the NFL. And now it's basically the base offense. For a lot of what people do. But look at the NFL. It's not just college. And just because Kingsbury's in Arizona, look at the formations, look at the way these guys get people open. There's a lot of air raid and whatever other kind of offense you want to talk about, those college 7-on-7 based things that are really becoming prevalent. And that's why the numbers are increasing.
You know what I find so interesting about that is Mike Leach, he designed it after the triple option. He said, he was on the show and he said, the triple option was the best offense ever. And he goes, I thought I could do something like that with the air. Yeah. I find that absolutely fascinating.
Well, when you watch it on tape, you can see it because these quarterbacks, and I don't care who it was, whether it was Graham Harrell or whoever, for him or whoever's running it, whether it was Bailey Zappi last year, it almost lulls you to sleep because the ball it's like 1,001 out, 1,002 out. I mean, the ball comes out because their receivers are crossing, they're going into areas, they're using motion, they're influencing. I mean, safeties almost can't be right, but you can mix things up and defensively you can do a variety of things. But I think it's the future definitely when it comes to offenses.
I remember when we saw Gardner Minshew in person up in Pullman, doing it for Washington State, and I look at it and I'm like, how's this guy not a first round pick? Like, what's going on? He can't do anything wrong. And then
it's like watching a professional dancer just dancing on air. There's something about the air raid when there's no defense that just looks slick. And then it like to your point, like the defense really is designed to not be right. And so when you've seen the best teams roll it out, boy, I mean, it can take a conference by storm. It can take an unprepared team by storm.
As an offensive lineman, would you like to block in an air raid system? I know generally O linemen want to run block and just fire out of their stance and push people around. but then air raid, it's a lot of quick passing. You're just kind of sitting back. I don't know. I could see if I was a lineman, kind of talking myself into an air raid program.
Well, you're kind of caught on a razor's edge if you're an O lineman in this style of offense, because they love gigantic splits inside these offenses. So the space between the guards and the centers and the guards and the tackles can be up to 4 or 5 feet. I mean, some of these offenses, like when Leach ran it at Texas Tech, you'd watch end zone taping. I just laugh every time I saw it. Space is not always a good thing. Yeah. You don't always want to give defensive linemen a lot of space. You'd rather have them fairly close, and you can just kind of get on them, push short them to the next guy. Yeah. So, but having said that, it does give you a lot of things you can do. A lot of you can use H-backs too, which when Leach was running it, they didn't have a whole lot of tight ends on their team, but a lot of short motion stuff with H, and you can trap people. And I watched what Kyle Shanahan does at San Francisco. They don't call it that, but he does a lot of the same things with that offense that pops people open so well.
That's interesting. Now you mentioned, San Francisco 49ers. Obviously, you're a legendary 49er. The big story for the 49ers, of course, is transitioning from Jimmy Garoppolo. He got him to the NFC Championship game, couldn't get him to the Super Bowl. Do you think they maybe pulled the trigger too early on Trey Lance, or do you think he's ready to go?
Well, if you make the move you made in today's game, I mean, it wasn't like Houston drafting Steve McNair out of McNeese State.
That's a good comparison.
By Houston, where he was coming out of a really odd offense, and people were looking at him and going, well, he's going to have to sit and learn. And he sat and learned. He also sat and watched Chris Chandler get the shit beat out of him.
I'm learning. I'm learning. Don't do this.
He saw that. He saw that offensive line and said, "Yeah, you can take your time playing me."
One more week. I need to learn the playbook a little more.
But he was also, in the 20-something years I did college football. I mean, just NFL football. Probably the luckiest first-round draft pick, I think, because he got time. He got time to sit and learn and study. They were patient, and when he got in there, he was able to do a lot of different things. We'll see with Trey, but when you make a move like that up to the 3rd pick and you give up what they gave equity-wise to get him, patience isn't one of the great things about that. Either it's the fan base that fan base has got a man crush like you can't believe. Now, they don't want to hear about completion percentages and anything that goes on negative. But, if you follow social media at all with San Francisco, you swear that every day Trey Lance throws 18 touchdowns and for about 700 yards.
Well, as a fan base, you got to talk yourself into him. And at the time, I was somewhat skeptical because I looked at that 49ers team and I didn't think. I understand if you can upgrade clearly from Jimmy Garoppolo, you do it. But to me, it was like, man, you use those picks, you use that draft capital to keep building around Garoppolo, who is, a high end game manager that can win in the playoffs. That's tough to find. Keep building around him and run it out. I to your point though, they gave up so much, they have to start him. And I think the fan base is just talking themselves into it.
It's the soccer mom mentality. They're like, oh no, he's definitely going to be good. He's definitely, don't say anything bad about him. He's definitely going to be good.
Yeah, well, the closer you get to the regular season opener in a week and a half or 2 weeks, the closer you get to the comments that start happening. We don't necessarily have to trade.
Well, that is funny with Jimmy G. He's still on the roster.
He's still on the roster. We can keep him around. It's easy as a fan to say that because it's not you plopping down that $25 million.
Yeah.
But it's going to be an interesting year. You see the success they've had, whether it was getting to a Super Bowl and losing, or the NFC Championship game and losing the way they did. I don't know. It's I think it takes a lot of guts and commitment to make the move they made. And that's one of those things you got to sleep well.
Yeah.
Sleep really well. Because once you make that decision,
And Trey Lance,
it's on like Donkey Kong.
Yeah, he's thrown like 80 passes in competitive football in like the past 3 years or whatever it is, because he didn't play barely last year, and then the COVID year, and then even before that, it was like, this is just such a projection.
And in a weird way, like, it's kind of messed up. He's got to go against Justin Fields that first game because he's immediately going to get measured against a guy that's in a not in a great situation, but in a very similar situation. So the second we see a bad throw, boy,
yeah,
Twitter.
Either way, either way,
it's going to be tough.
Yeah, or if he has a couple of completions.
I feel for Justin Fields because he's got similar situation pressure wise, but he doesn't have anywhere near the toys and the kind of offense that Trey's going to be stepping into. Chicago, it's like they're looking at him like he's got that bright shining light around him and he's going to lead them to the promised land. But it's he doesn't have a Debo. He doesn't have that running game. I think that offensive line for San Francisco is going to be a good bit better. I'm not going to say they're going to be anywhere near great or anything like that, but you've got a base over there on the left side. The right side can hold up their part of the deal. They can be pretty good, and that can go a long way towards Trey Lance. Because when you get quarterbacks that have mobility, people forget anybody can be a quarterback and run. That doesn't take any real skill, I don't believe. Yeah. But it's the guys that know how to look at a defense, and if they have to run, they know where to run so they can pass and how they can hurt a defense running the pass. Running the pass, that's what Aaron Rodgers learned to do really well. Go down the list. Patrick Mahomes. Yeah. I think Mahomes kind of came into the league running the pass.
Yeah.
Mahomes is a cool cat. He's also really sharp. Didn't take him long to figure out that those linebackers and safeties, they want to decapitate you. Yeah. And he'd like to keep those curly locks right where they are.
Hey, you got to stay alive. People forget that.
His brother keeps telling him it's all about that post-football social media career.
Now, Randy, do you get back to many Niner games? Because I'm curious, do you like that stadium way down there, or do you miss the old Candlestick Stadium?
Stadiums have kind of personalities and souls. And the only way you get a real personality and soul as a stadium is you got to win. Yeah. You got to have memorable moments and memorable games. And for the longest time, that new stadium had like zero personality. But, get to it when they got to a Super Bowl, they lost in New Orleans, but they're going into the stadium. It had some little pizzazz to it. Then they had a downtime. Then they started winning again. They get to another Super Bowl. They get to the playoffs. That place now has a presence when a team comes into play, because that place is going to go crazy. It's more than just one of the hottest stadiums in the league on the sunny side of the field, which it was known for a long time. Yeah, but, I think it's cool. I like the team. I like the chances they've taken. I like the job that John Lynch and Shanahan have done together, and not enough owners. I'll give Jed York credit. Man, when he hired those two guys and gave them 6-year deals, there had to be some people in the league looking at that going,
yeah,
you gave those guys
John Lynch.
What?
Yeah. Like he had no resume before.
He was an
that.
Announcer, right? Yeah. He was an announcer.
Yeah. He was working for Fox, but and they just got extended. I think last year both of them got extended back out to that 6-year mark. So that breeds that kind of stability. And organizations thrive off that. And I think that's a smart move, and it's something they're able to take advantage of.
Now, you mentioned stadiums that have a soul. We're only a couple miles here from the Rose Bowl. We're going to go see UCLA take on Washington end of September there. I know you're a notable UCLA alumni. What's your thoughts on them this year in the Pac-12? Maybe this is the year Chip gets it figured out and they win the Pac-12. Are you high on the program? Where are you at with the Bruins this year?
You got to bring up the jump to the Big Ten. I mean, I'm so curious how that will work out and what your thoughts are there.
Yeah. Well, we'll be on this subject for a while. I may be at that game, Washington UCLA game. That's my off week. We always have one off week during the season. That's going to be my off week.
You're going to have to stop by the tailgate.
that day, I've got a 50th high school reunion.
Oh wow! Wow.
At my old, it's called Crespi Carmelite. It's a high school in the San Fernando Valley in LA.
Awesome.
So I'm gonna try to double dip and maybe get over to the Rose Bowl after our function. But UCLA, they've had a hard time getting the kind of quality linemen on the offensive and defensive sides that they've had in the past, and that's kind of come home to roost because they've struggled. You can ask their current quarterback. Starting what is 9th year,
Dorian Thompson Robinson.
Yeah,
they can't get rid of the guy even when they try.
DTR has been there since Bush was president, but he hasn't gotten much help in the way of protection and whatnot. So, people say, "Oh, he runs too much." Well, he runs because he has to. I mean, he's had to big time. I think I look at them as an 8 or so. If you're going to put like an over under on them win wise, I put them on about an 8 window. And I think that's where they may end up, and things go well. They've got a pretty manageable schedule. If you look at their schedule, that Washington game's one of their first real tests.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think it's going to be fun for the Bruins, and they need to be more demanding as a fan base.
I agree.
They need to demand to win, and that demand goes all the way up. Because I'll tell you one thing. I think they got a good guy at athletic director now. I really like the work that he's doing, because they had a guy there that anytime an athletic director fires and hires 5 or 6 football coaches and 4 or 5 basketball coaches, after about the 3rd guy that you hire and fire, you got to look at the guy that's doing the hiring and go, what's up with you?
We sure we are right here? Yeah.
Yeah. Dan Guerrero was like Teflon. And I think as a fan base, they need to be way more demanding on that whole place to have a program. And going to the Big Ten, it's going to be a damn scald test on them, because they're jumping. They're like a lobster jumping into a pot, getting into that conference.
I just can't. There's so many great memes out there of them taking on the Iowa Hawkeyes, and you show an Iowa offensive lineman throwing a barrel of hay like 20 feet. I mean, how do you think they will fare in the Big Ten? Are you a Chip Kelly believer?
I think they're going to be okay. I believe in his offense.
Yeah,
I believe in what he can do offensively. Like I said, they're going to be in the deep end of the pool. You start competing on a regular basis with the Big Ten or the SEC, and that's where all the big boys go to school.
Yeah, linemen especially.
Oh yeah, that's what offensive and defensive linemen study. Recruiting services, study recruiting classes. Look at the top 20 offensive and defensive linemen. They ain't going to the Big 12. They ain't going to the ACC. They ain't going to the Pac-12. They're almost all going. Well, they're almost all going to Ohio State or Alabama.
Yeah,
but I mean, they're going to those 2 conferences predominantly. And there's a legendary program in Iowa.
Yeah,
that's how they've made their legends.
Yeah,
on their offensive lines and
tight ends.
George Kittle,
tight ends too.
George Kittle couldn't beg him to throw him a pass. He had to
it's not our game, George.
Ferentz says, "Nah, you haven't flattened that forehead quite enough. We're going to have you block a little bit more."
It is hilarious. I was looking at their analysis of their annual Iowa State game the other day. They won the game with 115 yards of offense. So it's fascinating that they could beat a very good team.
Colby.
Well, and I do think that is a concern. Randy points out UCLA's offensive line. Like, I think these next couple of years before they transition over to the Big Ten, they're going to need to recruit some big boys if they're going to be able to
find some donkeys in California.
Yeah, to hang out in the trenches with these guys.
It's not hard.
Yeah,
it's not hard. You talk about those recruiting services. Look where all those high school kids go to high school.
Yeah.
It ain't in Ohio. They're in California. No. They're in Texas. They're in Florida. They're in Georgia.
Yeah.
And they're all going, and that's where they're going to get them. I mean, you're seeing all the time to see a lineup nowadays and see an offensive guard that's 6'5", 325. That's like, oh, okay. That's normal.
Now
and these are kids that come. These are freshmen.
What was your Randy? What was your playing weight back in the day, like UCLA?
Well, UCLA, I started at about, I don't know, high 50s. Probably by the end of my freshman year, I was 65 or so. By the time I left UCLA, I was about 270.
Yeah.
I got to San Francisco, and my first head coach was a guy named Monty Clark. And I'd heard about his conditioning tests and everything, so I'd done a lot of running, and I was actually a little light. I was down about 260 when I got to camp my rookie year. And he announced that he didn't want a lineman over 250.
Oh wow!
Because we're going to weigh every Friday. I want all you guys. I want light, quick linemen. I was like, oh, geez. Which back then I could do it because I never lifted weights. I didn't touch weights.
That's crazy.
Back then. I didn't lift weights until my second, third year in the NFL.
That's insane.
Till I met a guy named Curly Culp, and he convinced me that I should be lifting weights. But yeah, I mean, it's nuts. And weight wise, when I retired, I was 290.
Yeah.
So
bulking up over the years, but yeah, it's now like, yeah, good luck playing even college offensive line if you're not pushing 300.
I'm curious your thoughts though. I get it. Like the Big Ten and SEC have certainly dominated that, and you're 100% right that traditionally it's coming out of Georgia, Florida, Texas, and California. But now you have the NIL era. I saw SMU just put together like an unbelievable NIL deal for I think their whole roster on football and basketball. And now you could have some real wild cards coming out there because the SMU money I think was pretty damn good. And then I saw the Miami Hurricanes doing the same thing. Do you think that could potentially just change everything then?
Yeah, it has that potential. And I think one of the reasons it has that potential is there aren't any rules.
Yeah.
I mean,
Wild
think about
West.
this. Can you tell me who runs college football?
ESPN and Fox.
Who's the commissioner? Who's the president?
Seems like the TV execs right now.
Yeah.
Who's the enforcement agent? Who's gonna enforce the rules? Oh, wait a minute. There aren't any freaking rules.
Yeah.
Self-reporting.
There are none.
It's crazy.
So, you say SMU. Texas, nobody in the country as an athletic program has anywhere near the money that the Longhorns have.
Yeah.
They've got money coming out of their ears. So you can make fun of Texas all you want, but the scary thing in college football is eventually they're going to figure it out.
Yeah.
And when they figure it out, maybe that's when we get rules, because that's when everybody else is going to look around and go, "Oh crap! All these Texas teams are like flush."
Texas is actually back.
Trust me.
Yeah. Then people start getting worried. You mentioned Texas. They announced Quinn Ewers as starting quarterback there. Do you have Texas as maybe a sleeper team, or do you have a sleeper team for the college football playoff? I mean, we expect at least one, maybe two SEC teams, a Big Ten team. But who is that? Yeah. Do you have a surprise team to maybe make it in that playoff?
Well, yeah. Can Clemson be really a surprise team? I mean, it's been a couple of years since they were in that position, and for some reason, everybody's sleeping on them. And they won 10 games last year. And no doubt that's all about DJ Ulianga. Excuse me. Ulianga.
No, I have a hard time with that all the time.
Feel free to go big.
I end up saying ukulele sometimes. I'm like, I don't know what I'm saying.
But yeah, I'd keep a real close eye on Clemson. I think their line of scrimmage, their linebackers, and their skill guys are as good as anybody. So if they can figure out their act at the quarterback position, they can be deadly, because they could stroll through the ACC.
He doesn't need to be like Trevor Lawrence either. I feel like that defensive line is almost like Georgia's defensive line last year, and you saw it with Stetson Bennett, where he wasn't Heisman caliber, but he did a good job. He didn't hurt the team, and he made some good throws at critical times. really impressed me. He made me eat my words. I thought there was no way. Yeah. So
Yeah.
you make
all those guys that were at Georgia, between Eason and Daniels and they come out with this guy.
Yeah.
But I think a lot of us in the game, watching the game, forget Kirby's roots. I know he's a Bulldog, but he was with Nick for a long time, and they won more than a couple of national championships with the other versions of Stetson Bennett.
Yeah.
Whether it was Greg McElroy or whoever.
Yeah. Wow.
They had the quarterback's job in that offense, in that system, if you can call it that, is to not screw up. Do not be the guy that beats us.
Yeah.
You control the ball, you control the game. You just, you do you, and don't try to get over your skis too far. And it's hard to find guys that will do that these days, because most quarterbacks these days live over their skis.
Following in the great steps of Ken Dorsey. Just don't get in the way.
Well, I just think in college football, everyone's talking about Bryce Young and all these other great quarterbacks, and they're great. But the reason Georgia won a national championship is that defense, and specifically their line of scrimmage, offense and defensively. At Clemson, you're right. You make a great case because their defensive line is perhaps the best in college football this year.
It's going to be crazy. And you mentioned Texas. Check Texas out.
Yeah, what do you think of viewers?
Well, I mean, hell, he's worth more than me, and he's
took it
he hasn't really played it down.
Yeah, 3 snaps and he downed it. Right, he downed it. They came in for a win. Took $2 million from Ohio State. Oh man,
turned around, flew down to Austin and went directly to the pay window and got another one. I'd be real careful with Texas. They're not going to be national champion turnaround this fast.
Frisky,
they're going to be a lot better.
Now, I think you missed out on a great time with the NIL, because we could have had an awesome Randy Cross NIL barbecue endorsement. We could have really gotten you could have got a nice deal with some barbecue sauce, maybe a local place.
Maybe mix in a little hair club for men.
Oh, there you go.
Do it all.
Yeah, the barbecue thing would be great. I'd have my own grill and sauces.
Yeah,
and seasoning.
Last year when we talked, we probably went on for about 10 or 20 minutes on what you got going barbecue wise. How about Labor Day coming around the corner? Any plans?
I'm going kind of old school boring. I just got done doing these pork belly strips. Which were unbelievable. They're about that thick and like there by there. I mean, they are big. And I just did some ribs yesterday.
Oh man,
I'm going burgers.
Oh man.
Now you make your. Do you like grind up your own meat? Make your own patties.
Randy's acting like he's just going to throw some ground beef, but this is probably a multi-day process. There's probably all sorts of delicious ingredients inside the ground beef.
What do you? You just get some.
I don't go for that. I'm going to get a couple stacks from Costco and get all the cousins and family and let them come over, and they're going to all be down at the pool. They'll be hungry when they get back. After 2 hours of swimming, they'd eat their arm.
Sean always tells me I overcomplicate things.
Yeah,
simple solutions.
Randy, are you still?
I've got plenty of friends that do the brisket grind and do all this, and trim their meats and keep it in a bag in the freezer and then take it and grind it up and make it. It's like, give me a break.
You do if you don't follow Randy on Twitter, you got to at Randy Cross FB, but your barbecue photos in particular are just
food
amazing.
Porn, baby.
Yeah. The pork belly strips you're talking about, I think you tweeted out a photo.
We have a whole channel in our Discord dedicated to people just sharing pictures of food. So we love that stuff, Randy.
It's called the Fat Guy Food Aisle.
Are you still calling? You caught a lot of Navy games. Are you still going to be calling a lot of midshipman games, Randy? Yeah,
I do all their home games. So then I do a combination of Mountain West and Conference USA, and it's fun. It's a great way to stay close to the game.
So when it's Army Navy going on, one of the greatest rivalries that we have, does that mean you're just? I know you're calling a lot of games, so you probably can't say. But at the same time, are you pulling for the midshipman there, or is that no comment?
I do the march on and pregame. for Army Navy every year.
Oh, that's awesome.
It's the best, that event. And I've got a whole, as you can imagine, I've been doing these guys for a while. So I've got a lot of friends, but I've got more friends that are West Point graduates than I do that are, Naval Academy graduates.
Oh, really?
But,
wow.
Yeah. But, like last year, I picked Navy to win. And I kind of said why. I said, well, they're going to have, they're going to have some special teams plays where, keep an eye on Diego Fago, and they're going to do some trick stuff. So keep an eye on Chance Warren, blah, blah, blah. I went through this whole thing. And it was nothing more than a swag, a sophisticated wild ass guess. But I'm watching the game. I'm sitting up there. All of a sudden, reverse Chance Warren. Oh damn! Do the special teams thing, the fake punt, and Diego Fago. And after the game, the CBS guys are going, "Who told you that? What was up with that?
Who is your source?"
See, who's your source? My source was just watching.
Yeah, exactly.
What do you make of Jeff Monken and Army? Because they have, I don't know, this has been a long time. Andre Carter is a defensive end who's 6'7", 260. They're talking like he could be a top 15 draft pick next year. It's been a long time since Army had a first rounder. What do you make of that kid? What do you make of the Jeff Monken's job he's doing in West Point there?
Carter's legit. Carter is very legit. And Monken, the best thing that happened to Jeff Monken was when he got there, they sort of adjusted the schedules for the cadets. Because, I don't know if you're familiar with West Point and whatnot, but in the summertime, towards the end of summertime, they have this 2-week period, this kind of hell week, where the cadets all go up in the mountains and survival training and all this stuff. And that would be right before training camp.
The poor
and the
guys.
football players that have to do it. So you have guys coming in there they're eating twigs and rocks and anything they can find, bugs and whatnot, just to survive. And then go to training camp. They've lost a bunch of weight, and they don't do that anymore. And they are the difference. Because I did probably a year or two of the Army games. I did 1 year where I did Army. Then I did another year where I did all the home games. And they synced up where I did Army home games and Navy home games. I don't advise that because it's a guaranteed formula for nobody trusting you.
No, I'm not going to give you anything.
Yeah. Oh, nothing. Yeah. What do you want to know? Tough. No. But he's done an amazing job, and that team. If you watch them, they are big, and they're physical, and they're very. That's the one thing about the academies that people don't realize. The week after, watch the record of teams the week after they play the academy. And I tell people this all the time that say, well, what do you think? I say, well, look at it, because they physically beat people. Yeah. They play a style, that triple option.
Yeah,
that nobody
wear
likes.
People down. I like it, Randy.
They get in people's legs, and nobody on defense ever likes people in their legs. So it's guaranteed. If you're a football team, you're going to be beat up after you play in an academy.
Yeah, no, we always like looking to play teams who had just played, a team like that runs a triple option, because the week after it's tough, and even just preparing for that is always a chore for the team. So they can surprise some people. And well, Randy, appreciate the time, and I know we're going to be tuning in Austin P at Western Kentucky. Get that over on CBS Sports Network, and follow Randy on Twitter at Randy Cross FB. Check out all his amazing barbecue posts as well. And Randy, appreciate the time, and maybe we'll run into you at the UCLA Washington game.
Sounds good, guys. Thanks a lot.
All right, take it easy.
Thank you so much.
Yep.
All right, thank you.
Randy Cross as una gran leyenda del fútbol americano. That's right. Randy Cross is a great American football legend. Now, maybe I messed that up a little bit, but hey, I'm still learning. I'm learning over at Babbel. I'm loving my Spanish journey. Babbel's great, man. It teaches you bite-sized language lessons that you actually use in the real world. And again, if you've ever tried to learn another language, it can be a little difficult, but Babbel makes it super easy, scientifically proven. 14 different languages available, including Spanish, French, Italian, and German. And they make it fun. I mean, that really is the difference, because if it's fun, you're going to stick with it. They got videos, games, podcasts. So again, you don't feel like you're even, it doesn't feel like back in the day in like middle school with, Senorita Rivas yelling at you, slapping the ruler around. It's fun and you're going to enjoy it. And we got a great promo to get you started. Save up to 60% off your subscription when you go to babbel.com/SGP. That's BABEL.com/SGP for up to 60% off your subscription. Babbel, language for life. We're also brought to you by Elias and their brand new game plan app. That's right. You probably already have heard of Elias and the Sports Bureau, those amazing nuggets that you see flash up on Sports Center. That company is Elias, and now they got this awesome game plan app. It has tons of fantasy relevant information, sports betting relevant information. We're about to watch the kickoff between the Packers and the Chiefs. Got a ton of great nuggets here. I'm scrolling through. They help you, they help you bet smarter, not harder. And again, Elias, the name, you've heard it a million times. All those great NFL nuggets. And what's cool about Elias is it's actual people pulling these stats, pulling this information, getting you ready to go for football season. And it's not just some algorithm. You're actually, the stats you're reading, the stats you are using come from real people. Highly recommend firing up the Elias Game Plan app today. Elias Game Plan in the App Store or Play Store. All right, now we're back talking FCS college football. WinBet has the championship prices, couple win totals. Colby, I'll let you kick things off. What are we looking at here? Here's what I'll say, and correct me if I'm wrong, but rarely am I wrong, Colby. With NIL deals and with the transfer portal, the FCS unfortunately has become even more top heavy than before, because standout players maybe on some of these bottom schools have some leverage to move, and it's even easier, right?
Well, unlike the FBS where there's like 5 programs that matter, there's like 12 programs that matter in the FCS.
No, but I the transfer portal I actually think favors the FCS.
Okay,
I didn't know that until recently,
because I could see it going either way.
But more players have gone down to the FCS. So what happens essentially with the FBS is a lot of players go to transfer. You only have so many scholarships. Yeah. So a lot of players end up getting asked out because they think, oh, I'm this player, I can find a home. And then, hey, football season's right around the corner, and boom. But I will say this, the NIL and everything, like there's about 8 schools in the FCS that have put together an NIL program already. That is probably going to help add the gap some. But in general, North Dakota State and South Dakota State, especially North Dakota State, they should be in the FBS, man. The way they spend money within their own program pre-NIL, is on par with an FBS. So you're seeing them dominate the FCS for the most part because they're on another level than most. Now,
why do you think North Dakota State's been hesitant to make the jump up?
I think there's a lot of things. I think they need an invite. I think the game of going independent is a hard hustle. I would,
but it does seem like with conference realignment, someone's going to want a North Dakota State or no.
Yes,
it's a pain in the ass and it's a small market.
I mean, I think there's a lot of talk that like, hey, if the Pac-12 expands and grabs some teams from the Mountain West would then go for the Montana schools in North Dakota State and South Dakota State. But I've long lobbied that North Dakota State should just go independent. Look at the Miami Hurricanes. Look
Notre Dame.
Yeah, tons of them. There's tons of examples. Right now, you're seeing it with Liberty. Liberty was FCS not that long ago. They came up as an independent, and they're just they go bowling every year. It's a hard hustle. I get it. It's probably a pain in the ass from an athletic director's point of view, where you got to find your games all scattered around.
It helps you're in a dome. More people willing to go up there.
Yeah, who doesn't want more dome football?
Let's go south. Let's go South Dakota State, guys.
I think the reason you're seeing folks want to go to the FCS to play, maybe it's only for a season, is I think the transfer portal is being advertised as this thing the players are overusing. I think what's really happening is you're having a lot of programs push kids into the transfer portal. And the scenario that Colby's talking about, I think a lot of times that's a kid who's been told he no longer has a spot.
Well,
and
yeah,
they're not gonna put it out there that he's getting kicked off the team or losing his scholarship. They're gonna let him transfer, right?
Yeah.
It's like the honorable
But
thing.
I also think it's both. I also think the players think, no, look, this coach didn't use me right.
I'm a starter.
Yeah, and then
I think both. I will say I've consumed more recruiting content this year, and those guys seem more plugged in.
Brett Pry got you fired up.
They seem like the 24/7 guys. Like they seem more plugged into which guys are transferring like with intent and which guys are transferring out of necessity. And so, yeah, if I was a guy transferring out of necessity, why not go down to one of these schools? We see guys, as you point out, you can play in the league still afterwards, and also you can
still get drafted.
You can bounce back into FBS, right?
Yeah.
well, I think the top two wideouts in the NFL right now, pay wise, Cooper Kupp and the Dolphins dude from North Alabama, Tyreek Hill, both FCS wideouts. So
you gotta love Colby because he's the only guy who knows Tyreek Hill's the North Alabama guy.
But
who's that North Alabama kid?
Yeah.
Great on a fly route. Never turn. He runs up and down the field real good. What's his name?
Tyrek.
Dude,
I just had Colby. I just picture Colby's brain as like the brain inside Colby is a guy with like a crew cut and just like one of those old ties and like a Vince Lombardi hat on.
But Colby, I do remember when all of this shit was going down with NIL and even the play like the idea of the big conferences getting more powerful. I did throw out the theory that this could actually help the smaller schools.
sure.
Right. It can create this weird vortex in a strange part of the country, whether that be Montana or down in the deep South where they just love football.
I think it's subjective. I think the answer there is subjective because yes, they're bringing in more players from the FBS, but at the same time, you are having some of their really good players.
But
jump
yeah,
ship.
you're gonna.
Yeah.
It'll probably balance
the
itself
tide rises for everybody. We're talking about FCS win totals.
Yeah, well,
we're talking about FCS.
When the number one recruit in the nation says "F you FBS" and goes to the FCS,
That's pretty
Travis
crazy.
Hunter.
That doesn't happen pre NIL. That doesn't happen pre a lot of this stuff. The point.
Well, yeah,
being,
I mean Jackson State all of a sudden because of Deion Sanders and because they can be out in the open with their NIL stuff, they're becoming relevant.
Yeah, but Deion Sanders. I mean, come on. If you're a defensive back, you're going to say, "I have a chance to learn from one of the best of all time."
And honestly, like for anyone who is a Deion hater, like he seems like he went out of his way to go back to school and like raise.
I really hated him when he played.
Raise the value.
I
of
love
these
him
schools.
now, man. It's great. He's given up half his paycheck to try to get the locker room and everything redone.
Because at some point you live for something. He's got a kid. It's an obvious thing, right? Like this is when you see the actors switch from playing regular characters to animated characters.
Eddie
right?
George, Tennessee
They
State.
want to be the hero for their kid. So in this case, he's coaching his kid. He's trying to be a fucking like generational hero, and he has a chance to pull it off because he's literally. Like it might not be competing for it might be like, who cares if I compete for a national championship? We're all going to the NFL anyway. I want to compete for a SWAC or whatever.
Dude,
I want to go play in the celebration.
The amount of talent he's brought into Jackson State, if he's not Florida State's next head coach and he stays at Jackson State, they're going to become must-watch TV because that
X-Files
talent.
music, please. Yeah. The best way to throw a real wrench into the fucking playoff. Get one of these Deion teams beating a powerhouse.
Dude,
all of a sudden it's like, oh, you're going to keep him out?
Here's the problem.
You're going to keep him out?
The powerhouse is not going to schedule him.
Well,
just like North Dakota State forever couldn't get North Dakota State 6-0 in their last matchups against the FBS. Luckily they found Arizona, which was dumb enough to schedule them this year. Right. But
so I think, this is only the beginning for what will be just maybe level 2 or level 3 on the football ladder, right? Everyone is slowly coming to the idea of, wow, the European ladder model is like the perfect college football model. And maybe it doesn't happen for the top teams because they have their fancy playoff, but maybe it happens for the group of 5 and the FCS. And as Colby's watching over here, Division II football, Colby is streaming a Division II football game on his computer right now, along with 576 others. So shout out to Division
look,
2.
Faulkner just got a stop. They're only down 10.
Okay,
but a lot of game left, folks. dude. But no, this is fantastic.
All right. So all of that being said, we said all these nice things about the FCS. What Sean led off with is essentially true.
Yes,
there are only a couple teams, just like FBS. There are only a couple teams.
Morehead State 200 to 1.
No.
Duquesne 200 to 1. Do we? No. All right. Let's just start at the top.
Oh,
Colby,
wow.
you tell me.
Sean always like start at the bottom.
Tell me where to stop. North Dakota State plus 200. South Dakota State plus 400. Montana plus 800. Montana State, they got to the final last year, 10 to 1. Jackson State, Dion's team, 15 to 1.
Well,
I think you probably want to stop somewhere around there. Not being generous because of Montana's, history. They've been a very good football school for a very long time. So
Northern Iowa 15 to 1, Missouri State 15 to 1. For me, my official prediction for the FCS championship, give me South Dakota State and the Jackrabbits. They've kind of had North Dakota State's number for a while. They got knocked out by a red hot Montana State team in the quarterfinals.
Wow.
And the coach Stiegelmer. How do you pronounce that? Stiegelmer?
Yes.
Stiegelmei. Babel needs a class just on like these fucking names for college football. He says his offense
sounded like it hurt.
Says his offense is the most skilled in 27 seasons. They're bringing back Mark Gronkowski, who you remember.
Wow. Well, hold on.
Missouri.
Is this
Missouri Valley? No.
He's not a super gene.
Missouri Valley Offensive Player of the Year in the spring 2021 season. He had a knee injury, so missed last season. So they're coming back. And I know what you're thinking. Oh, they don't have Pierre Strong, their workhorse. But take a look at Isaiah Davis.
He's a stud. He's a stud, man. Stiegelmeyer's a good coach too, and
Tucker Kraft, their tight end, looks pretty legit. Wide receiver Jackson Janke
and his brother. His brother's also on the roster.
Got a couple good and Adam Bach, 125 tackles last year. I just can't take the chalk at North Dakota State, and South Dakota State seems like they have a legit path. So give me them at plus 400.
I mean, I think it's going to be one of the two more most likely. I mean, we could potentially see.
Why don't I see Jacksonville State odds out here?
Yeah, because Rich Rod, they're thinking year
it's
one.
Off the board?
No, I do think they have some type of penalty for joining the FBS.
Oh, they can't. Oh, okay.
Yeah, so
they're not letting them play in the playoffs. They can't get there.
That's your punishment.
Pussies. I like them to wreck everybody.
But how about taking a shot on like Bobby Petrino, road rash face over there at
you're
Missouri
talking my
State.
Language.
Once again, he brought in a quarterback.
15
Jason,
to 1. I mean, for me, the long shot that's fun is either Jackson State or Montana State. Jackson State just because it would be fun.
What about Eastern Washington? They do play on that horrible red turf.
They lost Eric Barriere to the USFL, and
Eric Barriere. Who could forget?
He's looking up his stats. Look up his fucking stats, dude. That dude lit college football on fire.
Do we want to address the elephant in the room? If Stephen F. Austin is willing to cheat to beat Rich Rod in Jacksonville State, do we want? Are they worth a sprinkle at 60 to 1 to win the national championship?
Yeah, and how about we have some fun with
Colby's gonna say yes to all this.
Yeah, Kennesaw State. Kennesaw State, the Owls. Look, my heart
60 to 1.
My heart is with this program. They started this program very recently, and they said, you know what? How are we gonna win right away? Well, they install the triple option.
Oh, here we go.
Give me Kennesaw State, baby. Let's have some fun. 60 to 1. Let's go Owls.
See, I would say sprinkle Stephen F. Austin since they're cheating.
Right. Remember how excited Colby got when Randy Cross mentioned the triple options? Like, oh, you're talking to a guy likes the triple option.
It's the heart of football, man.
Colby,
started with the heart of football right there, man.
Colby reminded me of one of those old people that talks louder when they're talking to like relatives, either old people or young people on the phone. I don't know. I mean, I think I think Colby nailed it. You got to take chalk, right?
I mean, I think you got to go with one of the first 5 schools. And look, but that's the best thing about football. It's like all these bozos like us will sit here and try to forecast it, and you got to settle it on the field. Maybe Bobby Petrino and Jason Shelley, former Utah Ute quarterback, can figure it out.
Yeah, here's the way you do it. You take Dion, you take road rash face.
Yes.
You take your unit, you chop it up.
Small sprinkles on those.
You take a half unit on Dion and a half unit.
I think you're going to be looking at South Dakota State in the championship game, and you'll be thanking your lucky stars you have them at 4 to 1.
Okay.
Get it now. Over
I do like that. I do like that.
Let's make sure we get that clipped in on the social media.
sportsgamblingpodcast.com/WYNNBET. That's my official play. I don't mind those long shot sprinkles. Kramer, do you have an official play here for FCS?
I just told you we're gonna chop the half unit.
Oh, you don't want any? You don't want anything chalky. You're just going a couple long shots.
Well, my long shot, Stephen F. Austin. My two chalky plays are Jackson State and Missouri State half unit each. I'm not a pussy like you. Giving out a 4-1 future.
Colby, what's your official plays here?
Let's road rash phase, baby.
Yeah, there we go.
Look, I mean, we're gonna touch win totals too, right?
Give me your two best win totals.
We can touch whatever you want.
Because Missouri State 6.5 is the win total. Lock this thing up, guys. Look, they avoid playing North Dakota State in the Missouri Valley, and they get at home in Springfield. They get your Jackrabbits, Sean. Right? It sucks to get them, but at least they're getting them in Springfield, Missouri. They also get our guy Stone Labanowitz's alma mater, Southern Illinois, in Springfield.
The Salukis.
Yeah. They're in Springfield. Youngstown's in Springfield. The road trips aren't that brutal. They got to go to Grand Forks. They got to go to Cedar Falls, take on Northern Iowa. That's probably the biggest game, but they get a bye week before it. They're hitting the over on this thing.
Here's the way. If I'm just gonna game theory this one. If I'm the win, if I'm win bet, I'm putting these out because only people betting these are people who went to the school. They're like, oh, what? I can bet on. Yeah, hell yeah, let's go.
How is Villanova regular season win total 8?
I'm betting them all under.
Well, that's another thing that's interesting is
I'll blindly bet all under.
With James Madison's exit, the CAA is wide open now, and Villanova might have an easy path to the playoffs. They got Monmouth coming in, who's pretty good. So it's. I
do like how the win has Chattanooga win total, and then in parentheses has how many games they play, because they realize people betting on this may not realize they play. These teams play 11 games. I mean. Montana State, do we like over 8? I guess the juice is -150. That's a little crazy.
Well, again, this is why you just take all the unders.
Yeah.
All of them.
Every under they offer.
No, buddy. Take the Bobby Petrino action. That's what I'm saying.
All right. I'll
bet
go
that over.
Wow. Jackson State 8.5. All right. So I'll go over on Jackson State, over on Missouri State. I'll take the chalk ones
Jackson
over.
State doesn't play in FBS this year.
And
take
then I'll
over.
And then I'll go under on everyone else.
Okay. Seems like a good gameplay. Colby, give us one more lock for the FCS win total.
I'm gonna go Kennesaw over 7.5. The option
-150.
Yeah, let's go.
Okay.
Give me that action. And then like I said, Missouri State. I even think sprinkle a little bit on those Chattanooga mocks.
No.
On the over.
I don't want your life.
All right. All right. That feels good. Couple FCS win totals, FCS championship.
Close it out a little Johnny Moxon.
Yeah.
Varsity Blues.
Oh, I got the reference, right?
The younger crowd's like, what the fuck's going on right now?
Yeah, if you're young and you haven't watched Varsity Blues, what are you doing with your life?
Oh my god, it pairs well with decaf nose beers.
Hey, we got our NFL Survivor, how to win your NFL Survivor with Moonoff, and we got a nice interview with Derek Stevens coming up next. Make sure you check out our Week 0 College Football Picks podcast. Colby's got a ton of college football content as well. 131 college football team previews, 32 NFL team previews on our feed. Go back, catch up. Still plenty of time to get ready for the National Football League. Toss us a nice rating review in Apple Podcasts or wherever you can review our show. Screenshot it and then submit it in the app. Just click contest for a chance to win free gear, $50 every Monday, aka Merch Monday.
Thank you for participating in the Sports Gambling Podcast.
For the Sports Gambling Podcast, I'm Sean, stacking the money green. He's Ryan.
Shout out to Deion Sanders for doing it.
Kramer, let it ride.